was scary, but it had a great balance, and it was something that really could have like a lot of thrillers are very predictable and
Right.
it's not really believable. It's not like, oh, that's not gonna really happen. But this movie was like that could really happen to me or my sister, anybody. It was really good.
Now, did you do you watch The Following at all? I know Empire is on Fox. Have you ever hung around and watched The Following?
I haven't seen that show.
Okay. I've checked it here and there. The Following to be on network TV is really weird and really graphic. So, but I ask you that because one of the main antagonists in The Perfect Guy, played by Michael Ealy, I guess he was Carter in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
He actually popped up in, I think this was season 3 of The Following with Kevin Bacon, but he actually popped up this year as the bad guy on there, and it really caught my attention because I'd never seen Michael Ealy in that type of role, but he pulled it off great.
Yeah, he plays the bad guy really good. I remember he was in For Colored Girls, and yeah, so he's really good at that
right.
bad guy.
That's right. Was his name Willie something, or was that Omari Hardwick?
I forget his name, but he's evil.
Right. So the only thing that's holding it back for me, although I'm gonna probably check it out, well, I probably don't have a choice in it. My wife is gonna make me go see it. The only thing that I'm a little down about is that it has a PG-13 rating.
Yeah.
I was in a scarier movie or a thriller, I'd really like to see maybe a more mature rating or even possibly a R rated, but I would imagine that they try to stay away from that so not to hinder the box office sales.
Yeah, I guess so. And you know what? I didn't even really notice that it wasn't. I mean, it was so scary, it was sexy, but it was good. I didn't notice that it wasn't too explicit or any bad words. It was just really good, and it's gonna leave you on the edge of your seat the whole time. So I think it's good, no matter the rating. So I think they did a great job.
So Sanaa Lathan plays the main character, the female love interest, I guess, that things go sour on. And then I think Morris Chestnut is the ex-boyfriend.
That's correct. So it starts off, they're together in the beginning, and then they break up, and then she gets with Michael Ealy's character.
Okay. What was was there any standout performances in it or unexpected? I saw Charles S. Dutton, or Rock, for those of us in the 90s. I saw he popped up in it. Did anything? What stood out about the movie for you?
Yeah, he was really good. He played her father, so he was really good in it as well. What I really liked, it just screamed girl power, to be honest. She really was not gonna roll over, and like I said, it could be so real, like something that really happened. So it made me kind of question, how do you really get to know a person really well before you kind of allow them into your space and into your life? And it was really good. So I really liked that she didn't roll over, even if she went to the police and they couldn't help her. So she took control of the situation and did what she had to do. So I really think Sanaa did a really good job. And like I said, Michael Ealy he's really good at being bad. So, even though he's fine, it was hard to see him as this bad guy, but he really nailed it. So,
is it similar in any ways to was it No Good Deed?
Yeah. So when I saw the previews, of course, that's the first thing I thought of was No Good Deed, because that came out last September as well.
Right.
So it was similar in the girl power move, but what it was, like, again, I feel like No Good Deed was more like not really realistic. Nobody's gonna let stranger come in their house with their kids, but this movie was it could be a boyfriend, an ex-boyfriend who just turns out to be crazy and stalks you. So it was very realistic, I guess.
I see it's trending on Rotten Tomatoes right now at 79%, so that's great. Most urban films tend to open up around 50, maybe even in the high 40s, so that's pretty promising that it is holding on. And I hope it continues to do well. And like I said, this was a pretty good surprise for me as far as, an urban targeted movie to come out for us. And it's not necessarily around a typical themes that most black films come out, a family reunion, holiday, wedding.
Exactly.
Or
I think
the ensemble cast. So I thought that was a good look for it.
Yeah, I think it was really good, and I think last year No Good Deed hit it on the nail with the marketing and everything like that, and so they were able to really do that with this movie, The Perfect Guy. So I think they're going to see pretty good numbers this weekend as well.
Okay, what would you give it out of? What would your rating be for it? I guess 5 stars.
I would probably give it I'll give it a 4.5 just because of what happened to Morris Chestnut. That's my husband. But yeah, other than that, 4.5. It was really good. So.
We'll move on from it. I just want to say it's kind of good to see Sanaa back on the big screen. I thought for a minute there she kind of got. It seems like once she went back to the small screen, I know she was on Boss, and it was another TV show she was involved with, and it seemed like it kind of took her away from the silver screen, and she's one of the more classier, kind of class. Like I said, just classier, more mature actresses, and she is. Your appreciation for Morris Chestnut, I probably share that same feeling for Sanaa.
Yeah, she's really good. So hopefully we'll be seeing more from her soon. So.
Right. So let's get on to Empire. That's the reason why I reached out to you on Twitter. And I appreciate you taking your time to talk to me about Empire, kind of filling in the gaps for me. I told you I'm more of a Being Mary Jane fan, but that's no shade to Empire, and the fans for Empire seem to be a little more fanatical and whatnot. So I definitely don't want to step on anybody's toes, but I just wanted to shed some light. The season 2 premiere is coming up. September 23rd, right?
Yes. Yep.
And I assume that you're pretty excited about that.
I am very excited, actually.
Okay. Just for context, I'd like to know what's your other top 2 or 3 shows that you watch right now, or your favorites of all time, just so we can kind of get an understanding of what what you like in general.
Sure. Well, Being Mary Jane, you mentioned that. I actually kind of like Being Mary Jane a little bit more than Empire, but
we good then.
I like Being Mary Jane, Scandal, and How to Get Away with Murder, and then I think Power is really good. So
okay,
that show too.
Okay, those probably all rank right up there for me. Okay, so, and it's interesting that you mentioned Scandal. I don't watch Scandal at all, but I actually have another guest planned for this weekend that's going to come on and talk to me about Scandal.
Okay.
Since its season premiere is coming up real soon as well.
Yep, the 24th. So. Okay,
so those on consecutive nights then.
Yep.
So we'll get into these couple of questions.
Cool.
What's the best 2 or 3 aspects about Empire for you? And let's recap it for everybody. I'll run through it really quickly. It's about the Lyons family, specifically focusing on the father, Lucius Lyons, played by Terrence Howard, and he is the head of Empire Records, I believe. He has 3 sons, Trey, Jamal, and Hakeem. Taraji P. Henson plays. Were they married in that show?
Once it starts, they're already divorced. So.
Okay, and she's getting released from prison.
Yes.
When we meet her, and so she's trying to come home and resume her position in the record business, as well as trying to reconnect with her 3 kids.
That's correct.
So from there, the major plot line was that the head of the family finds out that he has MLS, which is a fatal disease. I believe it affects the nervous system and just totally shuts down the body. But he was diagnosed with that, so then he goes on to try to figure out a way to name his successor to lead the company, once he passes on. And then he's trying to take the company public so that it has the money and resources to make that happen. And so all of the 3 sons and Cookie, I guess in a way, they start battling it out to try to see who will run the company. And then there's also Lucius's girl or fiance at the time that was in the picture in season 1. A lot of things transpired last year, and it ended up with Lucius actually taking a fall, and when we last saw him, he was going away to jail. So that's kind of where we are up to this point, right?
Yes, exactly.
So out of all of that, and all of the drama that's wrapped up in Empire and Lee Daniels' crazy mind, what draws you into the show on a weekly basis?
Well, the 3 aspects I like most about the show. Well, the music, of course, is really good. It's really good. And they have a mixture of hip hop, pop music, and things like that. So I really like the music. Of course, Cookie Taraji P Henson just kills this role totally. So she plays a good range of a good mother, just funny, outrageous, sensitive. So I really like Taraji's character. I think even from the beginning, she's kind of carried that show all the way through. And then I just like the family aspect. I like that there's drama, there's good music, fun, there's fashion, everything that you kind of want in a TV show. It's kind of all in there. So,
do you think that Taraji's character kind of evolved over the season? I felt like at first she kind of brought some of the elements from the reality TV world with some of the behavior that we see in that world. I thought she brought some of that with her and kind of like punched us in our face to get our attention. And then I thought week after week she started showing softer sides, the motherly side, and then she also had to fight for what was actually rightfully hers.
Yeah, I definitely think you see that growth in that character arc. She comes out being in prison 17 years, so she's totally behind. So she's used to the hood, the ghetto, and she really kind of comes out as loud and stereotypical. But that's what I really liked about Taraji, how she played the character, is that not just being this character, but that you see the softer sides, you see why she is the way she is, and things like that. So I really liked her arc on the show, of just even in her fashion, from being totally outrageous to being a little more chic and things like that. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what's coming for her in season 2.
Right. I had to defend her online with a professional boxer that I actually like, an up and coming fighter, but he was very critical of the show. I started following him once I found his Twitter handle, and he's from out of Philadelphia, and he was just like adamant that Cookie was all that's wrong with the world, and this isn't the image that we need to be portraying, and she just reinforced all of these negative stereotypes about black women. And me and him went back and forth because I said, he said it was like no different from us being depicted as slaves and whatnot, and why do we always have to have stories told from these beginnings? And I said, well, brother, I think you're missing the whole part of the show. I mean, she is, representing this hood side and all of that, and she's coming from prison. I said, but you can't give her any credit for trying to resume, her role as the mother in this family. I mean, maybe she's not going about it the best way in your opinion, but the show, I thought, really was about redemption.
Yeah, I agree with you, and that's one thing I really like about what's going on now, is that we're seeing more different stories from the African American perspective being told. So everybody's not gonna be Claire Huxtable. But what I like about Cookie is that she is a real character. My mother went to jail, so there are people whose mothers have gone off to jail and come back to redeem themselves and regain that life back with their children and get their lives back. And it really proves that this woman did anything she could to get her and her children out of the hood so they don't have to know a life of crime or anything like that. They're educated, her children are educated, are successful, and they'll never know that life that she had to live. And so I think that's a really great story of people who, you come from the bottom and you make your way to the top. Yeah, they made some bad decisions, but that's life. Nobody is perfect. So, I hear that a lot, but it's one story out of many stories, and it's not what we need to look to, to live our lives. So,
and that's what I tried to explain to him was, you know, when Lee Daniels and his people and his team tried to go get the money to make this show, you probably have to sell those worst, you know, those